What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat Pod. I am your host, PJ North, and we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, WrestleMania has been the buzz, but before we get into it, if you're watching with us on YouTube, don't forget that like and subscribe button. That helps us out. Share with your friends. Comment. Let us know your thoughts on WrestleMania. We want to know what your thoughts are based on our opinions, obviously. And we get that real-time interaction. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, don't forget to leave us a review and share with us there. And follow us on all social medias at AroundTheMatPod. We're everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Facebook, YouTube. So we're doing it. So let's get into it. I've got my man T.Y., the elegant one, Tyler Miller. What's good, baby?
PJ, what's going on, man? It's a big wrestling weekend all the way around Indies. Of course, WWE.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And glad to be here to talk about it.
Yeah, man, we're going to talk all about it. Before we get into the WrestleMania talk, we'll talk a little bit of the surrounding things that are happening. Just kind of briefly, no headlines or anything. We're just kind of casually discuss. AEW last night hit out of the park again, I thought, with Master P there in New Orleans for back-to-back shows. I thought that was pretty cool. Samoa Joe choked out Moxley. The Young Bucks versus Kevin Knight and Speedball. I don't know, man. I just think AEW right now is just really, really great. Right. I just really think they're on the way up, and I really think they're going to get to something. FTR now with Stokely, I think they're going to get to something at All In, and obviously we still have Double or Nothing coming up in a couple weeks. I think that they're going to get to something really, really hitting. I don't know. What about you, dude? What are your thoughts on AEW right now?
As a whole, I think it's good. Last night on the other side of things, I didn't think it was as good or as strong as what it has been.
Sure.
Definitely in storyline aspect of it too,
Yeah.
which of course I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
But I feel what you're saying. It does feel like something big is coming with AEW.
Yeah.
It feels like it's almost kind of like waiting to pop off at All In.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that is. I don't think I'm excited for another Samoa Joe, title run.
You're not a Samoa Joe guy?
He's good, but I just think, at this point, you have so many other younger guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Let them get the chance. Try to build those new stars. Of course, obviously, we don't know how much longer Samoa Joe's got in his career. But he's a veteran. He's there to help. He's there to help put people over. Let one of the younger guys get a stab at.
Yeah, we're going to talk also a lot about AEW in the coming weeks as we get into it. Obviously, like I said, I think they got a lot going on, but we are definitely succumbed to the WrestleMania tear. Outside of WrestleMania, but WrestleMania weekend, anything that caught your eye outside of the WWE stuff? Was it anything on the indies that you saw that you really liked, or anything not just WrestleMania related?
I would say I did check out some of the GCW show.
Yeah.
Sabu took a nasty bump with Joey Janela for no reason. A couple of them actually. But they put on as far as a total show, GCW put a pretty good one. And I know some other local indie guys that were out there.
Yeah.
Doing pretty cool stuff as well.
Yeah, I obviously our friend of the pod, Brad Myers, was out there reffing it up, and we'll hope to hear from him and all about it. It seemed like he had a really, really great time. GCW, I thought Bloodsport was really cool. I saw a lot of the clips from Bloodsport. I thought the Natty thing with the NWA, they had a little thing outside the ring, which I thought was interesting. I thought Karrion Kross and JR Kratos was cool. I saw a lot of the clips. Obviously didn't watch it start to finish, but and then GCW, yeah, man, just in general, I saw, there's just so much going on in Vegas at the time, right? The wrestler stuff. I saw so many crazy clips that weren't even WrestleMania related that were just wild. And so, yeah, I just thought obviously Wale Mania, the last Wale Mania looked cool. I was sad we missed Wrestling for Sales pop up because it looked awesome from all the pictures I saw. It looked really cool. If you're listening to the pod and you bought anything at Wrestling for Sale, let us know how it was, because it seemed like it was really cool. And the couple times that we've been, obviously we've really enjoyed it. So yeah, man, WrestleMania was a buzz, and all the stuff that's going on right now. There's just so many things happening positively in wrestling, and we're gonna get into it. So we're gonna kick it off here, a little WrestleMania talk, and we're gonna go night by night, just to kind of to wrap my thoughts around, so I can have a coherent thought and anger rant filled. I'm not gonna go full La Greca, but I might. You never know. I'm not fired up today as much as I was, but yeah, WrestleMania Night 1. Let's kick it off. Gunther versus Jay. What were your thoughts overall with Jay winning?
I liked that. I like that Jay won. I really don't like in the fashion that he did it in.
Super weird. It was a little weird.
Not to say that you couldn't have Jay win by choking Gunther out,
Sure.
But at the same time, let Gunther put up a fight, man. He's been this strong champion, an even stronger IC champion when he had that, and you put him in a chokehold and he taps out within a matter of maybe 3 seconds, if that.
Yeah.
I don't hate Jay winning, but I hate the way in which he did.
Yeah,
win.
I'll be honest with you, man. I like Jay a lot, right? I think I get I mean, I like I loved him in the Usos, like it's a tag team and all stuff. I just don't. There are multiple wrestlers. Excuse me, I just bit myself. There are multiple wrestlers that have the same finisher. Why? There are millions of moves in professional wrestling. We couldn't give this guy another one. Why are we doing the spear? Why are we doing the Uso splash? Like, all this shit is so lame. And I know he can do more, and I hate that about it. And I also think the spear is the worst finisher of all time. I hate it. I think it's so stupid. I hate Edge's. Goldberg's was the only one that was ever good, if we're being honest. So, yeah, man, I don't know. That part was whatever. But I thought it was cool that he won. Obviously, his entrance was unique. I enjoyed that. I don't know, man. We'll see where the storyline goes. I thought for sure Sammy was going to turn on Monday, and we'll talk about the Raw after Mania, but I thought that's where it was going. But yeah, Jay and Gunther happened, and it was cool. Yeah. It was good, exciting start to the show. War Raiders versus the New Day. I will say that I picked the New Day, so I was 2 for 2 right here. I was feeling pretty good. And I enjoy the New Day's new gimmick, man. I thought their stuff when they came out after Raw, after Mania 2, they look like champions, talk like champions. They really are great. I think that they deserve the titles, and I like their heel run so far. I think it should be unique. I don't love the War Raiders anymore. That's seems like a played out thing. I think maybe they need to be moved on from, but that's just a personal thing. I just don't see it. I just don't get the interest in it right now. But the match was cool, and I was excited that the New Day won. What about you?
I was pretty glad that the New Day won as well. I do think that with the heel run, I think that they definitely deserved it. Even if they didn't deserve, or it didn't turn heel, I think at least one last run with the titles for them would be good.
Sure.
But I do think it is definitely a nice fresh coat of paint with the heel turn. And like you said, the Viking Raiders or War Raiders, whatever the hell they're called. I just feel like today in 2025, I feel like being a sole like gimmick character. I feel like it's pretty tough to fit in amongst the crowd.
Yeah, this isn't the 90s, right? This isn't the new generation. So, yeah, I agree. That's fair. I'm interested to see what tag team happens next. Obviously, we saw the Rusev debut, and we'll talk about the Raw after Mania. The next one, which I was super excited for, man, Jade and Naomi. And I thought they did a really good job. Jade's presentation was good. Naomi's new music was good. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good for what it was, and I was glad Jade got the win. What say you?
I think really in this feud for me, I think it kind of pushed Naomi in front of Jade for me.
Sure.
I think it really just kind of shows what Naomi is capable of and what she was, she was lost on the roster for many, many years, got released, came back. And now, she's finding herself with a decent WrestleMania opponent with a decent spot on the card.
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show, what she can do. And I think it really, proved that versus Jade, where everybody's expecting Jade to be a main eventer, a champion eventually. So I'm pretty glad that they pushed Naomi like
this.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really good match, and I think Naomi deserved it as well, man. Just like the work that she's put in over her career. Just another cool spot for her. All right, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Everybody was like, oh, man, the BFT out of the moonsault was so cool. And I was like, no, it wasn't. Because the BFT is a lame fucking move, too. I hate it. I like LA Knight, man. I just really like LA Knight. I thought he got out of what did he get out of the Rolls Royce or the Maserati? I forget which one he got out of.
I think it was Maserati.
The Maserati.
I think
Charlotte got out of the Rolls. Okay. I couldn't remember. And Fatu, his entrance, like, why did Solo come out with that? Like, that part's weird. Obviously, Fatu's the star, right? Like, we're kind of like, okay, we know what we're getting into. So for me, I enjoyed the match. I thought everybody else's favorite high spot wasn't my favorite high spot. I like that Fatu won. I think my biggest thing is, like, they do this a lot. They obviously just did it with Braun Breaker. They give somebody a mid-level title, push them to the moon, and see if the people react. That's basically what they do with their shiny new toy. And I think that Fatu could have some really cool matches against Andrade and against guys like that, like Carmelo. Hey, like, there's a ton of guys, right, that they can go after. And I don't know. I really enjoyed that part. I thought it was cool. I don't think this a little bit about WrestleMania Night 1 too that comes into that. We were talking about the Maserati. I just don't think the entrances were very good this year. Like, I didn't think that they were unique or exciting. I saw someone tweet was like, what happened to the entrance budget? Did it go down $2 billion? And I was like, damn, that's a good way to put it, because there wasn't a lot of thought, it didn't feel like, put into it. What say you?
Yeah, no, I was actually getting ready to mention something about the entrances.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, we were conversating back and forth like, man, they've got to be saving everything for Cody and Cena. And then, of course, Cena comes out, and it's a black screen with freaking white lettering. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is what we waited for. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was super weird. It's, I don't know, man. And I just didn't get, like, the entrance thing was like, a lot of people liked the stage. My only thing that I liked about the stage was that they had seats on the stage. That's all I liked. The rest of it was like, okay, it wasn't, like, exciting by any stretch. It just looked like Hollywood ramp. Just with a sliding door. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Me, honestly, I was also telling my brother, I don't feel as robbed last year with the stage, because I feel like you're in Philly. There's very few things that you can that you relate to Philly. The Liberty Bell. One of them, make the stage the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that we were gonna get a stage with something Vegas related, whether that be a slot.
Dude. Yeah, nothing.
Chips, anything.
Yeah.
But we got like a hotel entrance.
Yeah. So, I thought that part was. I honestly think that I like the minimalistic entrance ramps at the other shows. I think they're cooler that way, because I don't need the big bullshit at, like, Raw. However, I do think TKO has ruined I don't think, a lot of us wanted, like, oh man, how cool would it be to have, like, the Backlash entrance where the different old shit. That's never coming back. We're not getting anything cool ever again as long as TKO owns the company. I just don't think.
And it's so sad, man, because you go back and watch some of those pay-per-views, and they were very specific to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, man.
And
Over the Edge had like a full-on junkyard at the entrance ramp.
Yeah, dude, and honestly, some of the stages even had, like, direct relation into, like, maybe what the main event was for that show.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, we deserve that, dude.
Yeah.
And, like, what, all because you guys want to put some seats on the stage and sell them for $50,000 a pop? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, TKO sucks, man. All right, yeah, LA versus Fatu. It's a good middle of the road match. This next one, I will say this. We'll start it off with AAA being purchased by WWE. If you don't watch Lucha Libre, then you don't get an opinion about it. If you don't know about AAA, then you don't get an opinion about it. If you don't know the fact that Alberto Del Rio is the world champion of AAA, then you don't get an opinion. It is the drizzling shits. WWE should not be buying up other companies. It just shouldn't happen. I I don't see this. First off, what star from Mexico have they pushed other than Rey Mysterio? They pushed Alberto Del Rio, and then that was it. No one, I can't see another one that they've done it. Penta, everyone's like, oh, Penta. I'm like, just wait. He didn't win at Mania, right? Phoenix lost at Mania. So all that to say is I was really, really surprised that happened. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I think right now it doesn't look great. You can't treat every other company like it's NXT Light, in my opinion. It doesn't work that way. And so I don't know how that's going to go, man. In my opinion, I don't know. I didn't think it was that great. And it leads into this. Rey Fenix versus Grande Americana was the match was whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I think El Grande Americano is the dumbest shit ever. I don't enjoy it. His entrance was stupid. The yellow sandy filter on it was dumb. And look, I'm not being a hater. I think it's genuinely bad because I love Chad Gable and I think he deserves better. I'm like, I was tuned out, man. I just think it's so silly of all the stuff. And then you have him go over? Like, what are we doing? I don't know, man. I obviously I don't watch a lot of AAA, but I have watched AAA, and AAA has not been good recently. It's on Telemundo, so I get it here in Nashville, and I've seen their weekly show. It is bad. It is not good television, okay? And I like some lucha, and I obviously like there's a lot of Mexican stars and wrestlers, lucha libre stars that I like. This is not some of them. I don't know, man. That's my opinion on the whole thing. What about you?
Man, as far as them acquiring AAA, I agree with you. I don't think it's a good thing. I think at this point they're dipping their hands in too many markets and a lot of stuff that I feel like they personally don't know, enough about, or don't feel, they're not as much involved in the tradition.
Yeah.
As far as say what, some of these indie shows are, as far as the ID stuff, or, as far as like,
right, which all that shit's fine, right? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and as far as like the luchadors, I mean, besides Rey, there really has been nobody that was been, really pushed.
Nah, dude, they bury half of them.
Yeah, I mean, hell, my one of my favorite luchadors of all time, when he went to WWE Juventud, they had him, riding on a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Just to take that for what it is.
Yeah.
And so there's some people that say that Rey, they think that Rey wouldn't even have had the push that he had unless it wasn't for Eddie and his passing and that type of thing. But as far as Americano, I just think that there's a time and a place for it. I don't think that WrestleMania was the time or the place for it, especially for a talent like Chad Gable, that's got the potential that he does. And I mean, you could do it on a Money in the Bank, you could do it on a Bad Blood, but when it comes to Mania, like that's the big time. That's what all these guys and girls are like working their asses off for years and years to get.
Right.
And then you got to come out of like a shell of yourself, pretty much in a mask, and I'm sure he appreciated it, of course, but at the same time,
Did he appreciate? That's the thing. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe he did. Maybe it's not. It's just my opinion of if I thought it was good, and I didn't. I don't think it's good. I think it's terrible. I think it's the shits. So.
Right.
That's fair.
To say definitely wouldn't have wanted to be out there, as Chad Gable. I'm sure most of those guys and girls are happy to, get a spot on the card.
Yeah, that's I guess that's one way to look at it. What say you, man? And let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Comment on the video. Or
I will say after they I won't say bury Rey Fenix.
Then they go. I mean, obviously, you wrestle on the card. It's whatever, right? So it's like,
right. And then they go on to show the commercial right after their, nice new prime luchador enters the company and loses. Yeah. Then they show AAA commercial right after.
That's why I'm like, what are we doing? It's almost like laughable. It's like they thought, like, damn, you know what? Not only are we gonna have them lose, we're also gonna show this shit. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. The crazier thing is, I should have put this in the notes. The craziest thing is they have Vikingo, El Hijo del Vikingo, not Vikingo on their fucking TV. El Hijo del Vikingo. It's not, you can't change his name just because you want to. It's ridiculous. And then he gets involved at the very beginning, and then they still lose. And then they bring him into the ring, and I'm like, what is happening right now? I am so confused on what's happening. Again, I'm not the owner. It's not me being, I don't care about, it's not like I'm like this huge Lucha Libre fan. I just feel like the way that they're doing it wasn't, that'd be like if they would have brought in New Japan, if they would have done the same thing and it was New Japan, I would have low-key probably been like, all right, dude, this is, like, I would have been so mad if they went out there and sent Naito out there and get fucking, and he loses. I would have been furious just because it doesn't make any sense. And it's like, It's not enjoyable to me. I don't care about the booking. It's irrelevant. The booking is irrelevant. It doesn't make sense to do that, and it's not good, was my point of it. So that's where I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But, all right, Stratton versus Charlotte. Man, I'm here to tell you, night one was tough. Night one was tough. I love WrestleMania, so it's always going to be good. But when you're, like, looking back at it, you're like, I'd probably skip night one if I was thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like, at the beginning, I would probably skip night one from, like, if I was going to go back and watch. However, as we go into Stratton and Charlotte, I thought that this match was, I enjoy, again, it's WrestleMania, so let's not take this, let me be very clear. I enjoy WrestleMania always. I enjoyed WrestleMania 9, whether y'all did or not. I enjoyed WrestleMania 11, whether y'all did or not. So that's not the point that I didn't enjoy WrestleMania. I'm not nitpicking. I'm just calling out a few things. Stratton versus Charlotte looked so stiff. Like they legitimately might not like each other. And I kind of dug that it was like that. It didn't bother me. A lot of people didn't like it. And I was like, I kind of enjoyed that part. What about you, man? Stratton versus Charlotte.
I thought it was, up until that point, it was definitely, like you said, it was a skippable show up to that point. And if I were to go back and watch it, I'm probably only going to watch, probably the final two matches.
Yeah.
But also, as them throwing those stiff shots around and, the promos, it definitely looked like, could be some real tension there, which I feel like is always good for the match.
Well, Jeff Jarrett's dad always said real life makes better story, draws money or whatever the saying is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that. I thought the match was good, though. Otherwise, I'm glad Tiffany won. I think that made the most sense in that moment of what they're doing, too. And I enjoyed the way that the story went. And
it also, with those, like, stiff shots for me, it kind of, goes back to that promo battle or whatever you want to call it, that bullshit a few weeks ago.
Right.
It made that to me not seem as bad because it's like, man, there's like,
maybe there's a little real life heat there. Yeah.
Whereas at that moment in time, it just felt like a promo just went off the rails. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
And then the match comes. It's like, okay, that kind of makes more sense now. Than it did.
I did enjoy Tiffany's entrance too. I thought that was very unique, with the two TV screens and the Barbie doll box. That was pretty cool. So good for her. I'll tell you this other thing too is that what is happening? I'm so sorry. I felt like they were working hard to be put in an unenviable situation, which is they got to go into sorry about that. I knew this happened again. Man, my screen is throwing me off today. There we go. Let's try that again. I felt like they were really working, and it made it better overall, but they're working against them in the fact that they got to go on before the triple threat, right? Like they had to go on before Roman, Punk, and Seth. I don't know, man. Either way, I enjoyed it. Like I said, night one was night one. It was what it was. I still don't think it's a main event if you main event night one, but what do I know? I will say before we talk about the triple threat, what were your thoughts on the production of the crowd? Everyone's like, man, this crowd sucks, da-da-da-da-da. But I'm texting Miguel and some of the guys that are there, and they're like, dude, it's so loud in here. And I was like, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Like, I don't think that they produced the crowd well at all. And I think the TV production right now is sometimes like makes it unwatchable. It's like 15 to 20 minutes in between matches. Like, why are we taking that long? What are we doing? It's adding zero value sometimes. And I thought that like kind of took away from night one too, was just too much stuff in between matches, too much shit. and then, like I said, the crowd wasn't produced very well, so you kind of fell out of it because there wasn't that same excitement. What did you feel like?
Yeah, definitely. In the high spots, you could definitely feel the energy from the crowd, but as a total throughout the show, it definitely didn't feel or didn't seem like on TV that the energy was there.
Yeah.
And to go off of what you said about the time in between matches, between night 1 and night 2, I was like, man, I've never seen so many ads in my entire life. Don't get me wrong, that they're $1 billion company, and there's a reason that they're $1 billion company.
Sure.
But every single match doesn't have to have a sponsor. You know what I mean?
Dude, and how much did you hate the ring? I was like, this looks terrible. Yikes.
Yeah, dude, it was awful. And I had actually screenshotted something a few days after, and for night 1, apparently the total wait time.
There's like a Twitter related to WWE wait times.
Yeah, I think this is probably where this came from, but it was 2 hours and 11 minutes of wait time, and
from bell to bell.
1 hour and 45 minutes of total matches, and that's a 54% of waiting, whether it's post match.
As fans, we are literally, it's almost like the TKO leadership's like, how dumb are our fans? Let's find out, right? It's like, let's beat them over the head with it. And I get that it's a business, man. I understand that too. But like, at a certain point, does it look, there's a NASCAR, there's a guy who races ARCA. He's got like 1,000 sponsors on his car. It doesn't look good. The car doesn't look good. I don't care if you win the race. The car looks terrible. It doesn't look good. There's a reason behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to have a sponsor, just make one pony up the $1 million or whatever it is and, like, call it good. You know what I mean? I don't know. I definitely felt like it was too much.
And maybe I wasn't, paying as closely attention as what I should have. But I feel like as an audience at home, I feel like we were getting more ads than we were promo packages and build-ups.
Dude, 1,000%. So much bullshit.
I didn't see any of that except, but I saw some guy in a freaking, Nutty Buddy freaking ice cream suit running around. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it was questionable at best. All right, main event for night 1 was the triple threat. Roman, Seth, and Punk, man. I will say this, as a musician, a former musician, whatever you want to call it, as an artist and did all that, the live band thing almost always is bad lately. It's just not good. I like some of them, but like, I don't think that Living Color added anything to Punk's entrance. Roman's entrance with the bloodline stuff, with the things coming down, is whatever, man. If Roman was any cool, like if he was actually cool, it would have been awesome that he had Concord themed boots. It would have been cool as shit, but otherwise he's a fucking cornball. Seth, however, is that guy. Don't let anybody tell you. Seth is that guy. And I really felt like the match was unbelievable. I really, really enjoyed the match. Thought it was great. I liked the turns. Obviously, you could kind of see it coming. After he hit Punk, you were like, all right, he's definitely going back. He's going to Seth. It's not a question. I could kind of feel it, right? And I said that to Casey as we're watching. I was like, oh, yeah, he's definitely about to turn on Roman. Which was cool, man. I enjoyed that. I didn't hate that at all. I loved the finish. I thought it was good. All in all, it wrapped a nice bow on it. Do I think it was the greatest wrestling match of all time? No. But do I think it was really, really great and it's WrestleMania and it makes it awesome? Yes. I'm not going to rank it against other shit because I don't have to. I just think it was good, and I enjoyed it. And I'm glad Roman didn't win. What about you?
I think it was a really good main event, up until, of course, the Tiffany and Charlotte match. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I feel like this really saved the show.
1,000%, yeah.
As a whole, the match itself was pretty decent. The triple threat, the whole aspect of the 3 wrestlers in there. Sometimes it can get a little awkward with 3 wrestlers in there where, one looks
especially
like they might be.
Especially because it's not elimination. I think it should be elimination. But
yeah, sometimes you just, you'll see, especially like within like women's, but like, we'll definitely get to that. But they seem like they're just waiting for the next spot.
Move. Yeah, for sure, dude.
But I feel like it flowed really, really well with all three guys. The finish, for me, I thought it was kind of expected. That's what I was thinking that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I like the way that it was done, where, he
Agreed.
was turned on Punk at first, making you think he's going to go with Roman,
right.
and then kind of the swerve there. But something else that I really don't like is anytime, Seth Rollins hits Roman Reigns in the back with a chair, it's, will forever be attached, of course, to the Shield moment.
The Shield deal, yeah.
Like, just give it up at this point. He, turned on him, he screwed him out of the match.
It's been 12 years. We get it.
Exactly.
Sure.
He took it, took his wise man, we're leaving the Shield stuff in the past. But it was a great main event. My brother mentioned, which was a really good point. He was saying that he thought like the whole show kind of felt like almost like an Attitude Era show where the undercard kind of sucked and then the main event saved the whole show.
That's a good way to put it.
Which I thought was probably the best way you could put night one.
Yeah. I agree, man. I gave night one a still look, man, it's WrestleMania, so I'm gonna give it an A just because it's WrestleMania. And I felt that's a good way to put it, though. I didn't think about the Attitude Era. That's a good call out. Very similar to the undercard was lackluster to a certain extent. Didn't feel that great. All right, let's go into night two. This is really, really picked up too. And at the beginning, I will say this: the women's triple threat match was a lot of things happening night two. I thought the sound sounded better. The match layout seemed like, okay, this is going to be better. And the women's triple threat was probably the best women's match I've seen in WWE of all time. I can remember a lot. I would say Charlotte and Rhea was up there. I would say not Becky, but Bayley and Mercedes, or Bayley and Sasha. That's the one that comes to mind. You have the original Charlotte versus Emma. Like, there's a lot of great ones. Don't get me wrong. But I would say that this is probably one of the best women's matches of all time in the Fed, in WWE. And I was actually surprised that Io won. I like the way I, when you start to read stuff online, I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense why, right? She was like she was an afterthought, all this stuff, and she's really the one that delivered the whole match, from that perspective. So I thought it was really, really good. There was a moment where I thought Bianca broke her hand when they landed that one powerbomb spot. I thought she landed on it. I was like, oh, damn, she broke her hand. That's not good. But overall, I just thought that match really stole the show. And I thought it was match of the night and match of the weekend. I thought it was better than the men's triple threat overall from like a only match perspective. It was better wrestling than the men's. Did it have a better storyline than the men's? Obviously not. That's not the point. But like from a wrestling perspective, the women's match was actually better. But really great way to kick off night two. What say you?
Yeah, I agree, man. That is a huge way to kick off night two. That's kind of been a spot here in recent time that the women are kind of really taken accustomed to, is that championship spot on the show. And man, they really delivered. And I really didn't know how things were going to work with Bianca and Rhea being kind of two bigger powerhouses versus Io. Io, she definitely held her own in there though, man. And it was a hell of a match. I didn't think that Io was going to win, and I thought Bianca was definitely going to get it and maybe tie something in there with Jade eventually, or
I
maybe
thought so
even
too. Like I mentioned on the pod last week, I thought for sure Jade was going to interfere and cost Bianca, and then that would come out that like Bianca was also part of it. But
yeah, no, I thought something definitely like that could have happened, and I'm really surprised that it didn't. But also at the same time, I think it would have kind of been kind of an asterisk on a really, really good match.
Yeah, if they had someone else interfere. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad it played out the way that it did.
Yeah, definitely really good. Then they fired it off with Priest versus Drew. I really enjoyed Priest versus Drew. I thought that was a good one too. For what it was, I thought the dumbass Sin City death match, whatever. So dumb. I will say this. Even Priest's pre-tapes are bad. Like, I could not be less intrigued by him than I don't know, man. I don't know. Feels like it needs a reset. But yeah, Drew versus Priest was cool. I thought that was good. Did you enjoy that match?
It was kind of one of those things I wasn't, super hyped up on. It was decent for what it was.
Yeah. At that point, I felt like, though, they're like, okay, we've set the bar. Night 2's different. Like, this match was good. Then you have this match with Priest and Drew was good. I was like, okay, they're really on to something here. You know what I mean? I felt like they were picking up steam.
And in the juice box pool over the weekend, I was just waiting for either a kendo stick to come out or the announce tape not to get broken.
How'd you finish? Did you win or no?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I was sitting, maybe 10th somewhere around there. But I
didn't win the pool. I came out. Yeah, my pool days were not good this weekend. I did not have a good pool in either one. Also, shout out to the Juice Box, who Michael Cole. It couldn't have worked out more perfect. They were talking about Juice Box and then Pittsburgh, where Juice happens to be from. I was like, I immediately tweeted. I was like, damn, Juice is getting so much love right now. And they weren't actually talking about him, but it was very cool to see that interaction.
And the funny thing is, out of all the ads, out of the whole weekend, that was the only one that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Juice Box. Me and my brother looked at each other when they saw it. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So then the third match, they're hammering it at this point. Night 2's on fire. They go out there with the 4-way, the IC title 4-way. I love Dom winning. I didn't pick Dom to win, but I love that, man. I thought it was great the way he hit the Frog Splash 2 to win. I don't know, man. I was like, okay, Night 2's about to be banger after banger after banger. I was like, okay, they're really on one right now. How did you feel about the 4-way and Dom winning and not Penta?
I kind of thought that some kind of swerve was going to happen there. I knew some kind of BS was going to happen with Finn and Dom at the end for the finish. I knew that the finish was more than likely going to be built around two of them.
Sure.
But I don't hate Dom winning. I know I mentioned a few weeks ago, I feel like Dom's going to have, a hot babyface run, or even if he's not like a babyface or whatever, the pop that he got was
electric, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see where they go from there. And as far as them still kind of being tangled up with the Judgment Day, Finn's still with them for now.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where they go with that.
Yeah, I think as we talk about Raw, that'll come up as well. Here's where they lost me. Orton came out, did his thing, and then we got Joe Hendry. Look, I'm not denying that Joe Hendry is over. His entrance song is over. But unfortunately, the bell has to ring. And I don't enjoy it. I don't think he's good. I don't enjoy Joe Hendry matches. He's not I get the entrance. I get it. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying he's not over. I'm saying his matches are not for me. I thought Orton was funny and that was cool, but I wanted Nick Aldis, and I might have been just more upset that we didn't get Nick Aldis at that point. What about you? How do you feel about Hendry in that situation?
I'm not a huge Hendry fan, man.
Yeah.
The song up until where he gets done listing the
and then
cities,
he does the guitar thing and all the shit. Yeah,
I think that's where it drops off. I think everybody
1,000%.
likes the first 10 seconds of it. It drops off.
Yep.
And I really haven't seen a whole lot of Joe Hendry outside of his entrance, and of course I've seen him wrestle, but it's all the promo work, anything like that. I haven't really seen him to judge on that. But I mean, the fans love him, and I really don't see why.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I feel like he deserves more, dude. I mean, as his 20year WrestleMania, and you give him Joe Hendry. Of course, it's going to be a squash match. He was probably going to win regardless with whoever.
Yeah, he might as well have been the host at that point. You know what I mean?
And I mean, honestly, I didn't want him to go up against Aldis either. But when I saw Joe Hendry, I was like, man, where you at, Aldis? This would have been much better than what we have here.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. I didn't enjoy it, but that's again a personal preference. What's your thoughts on people saying that they buried Joe Hendry with it? I'll tell you the reason. I obviously saw this online, the discourse. I would say, however, as much as I don't like him, you're talking about having a WrestleMania moment. It's that
with Randy Orton.
Yeah, so it's buried or fucking. They could have sent him out there and let Orton shit on him, and it wouldn't have been burying him. At least he's on WrestleMania, and his theme song played, and he got to carry out the TNA World Championship. So people that saying he got buried, I think, don't understand what that actually means, buried. But
Yeah, in my opinion, dude, we all know a few years ago, there is nobody on the WrestleMania card that is not under a WWE contract.
Right.
And dude, you're a TNA superstar on WrestleMania. At this point, take what you can get and be happy with it at this point.
Agreed. I agree. And he said the same thing. He was on Ariel Hawani's show too, saying the same thing. So, all right, up next, these next two, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul in the women's tag match. Two things. Logan Paul's whatever. His podcast, he doesn't talk on his podcast like he talks in wrestling. And I hate, like, what are we doing? Why are you doing a fake accent? Like, what's your thing? I get that everyone loves that he's good in ring. That's fine. He spams a bunch of, call moves and shit like that. And that's cool. I'm cool with that. I'm not knocking his like moveset, but he's not over to me. Like, I don't get it. And so I felt like AJ deserved more. Karrion Kross thing, like, obviously his after show promo is way better than anything he's done in the ring. So that match was whatever. Then they followed it up with the women's tag, and we had Becky Lynch come back. When I tell you that I almost turned it off, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is this is bullshit, dude. Like, what are we doing? Why? What? I don't know, man. Those two matches in a row, I was like, so now we're so they started off really hot, and then they hit me with three things where I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Why? You know what I mean? I'm like, God damn it. I don't know. That's kind of where I was feeling at that point. What about you?
The Logan Paul and AJ Styles match, dude, I watched it and, was entertained a little bit by it, but, would I have been okay if it wasn't on the card? Absolutely.
Dude, 1,000%. Same. They should have put that shit on SmackDown.
Exactly. It definitely was a match for, a weekly TV show, but I do think it was cool how Logan had the drone in his hand.
God, you thought that was cool? I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, well, see, dude, I hate and complain about the drones every single week, but I thought actually this was kind of okay, kind of cool. I was like, and then it flew around and landed on the turnbuckle. It's like, okay, that's not bad, fair. But okay. The match as a whole, I could have definitely done without. Logan, he definitely, he does have some good moves, but at the same time, that fake acting voice that he has, he doesn't even use the same voice. They did like an after match interview with him backstage.
I know, and then he talks differently.
Yeah, he talked like he said he does on his podcast, and I feel like he could go so much further if he didn't do that. But we'll see if that changes. And Lyra and Becky, man, that was something that would make me want to turn it off for sure. And then to actually give them the titles, and then of course we'll get to what happens next. But it's like, why gonna do that just to turn around and take it off of them on Raw and have her turn? Like, why not just do that?
Yeah, why not just have her turn at Mania?
Exactly. Almost kind of give her that WrestleMania moment turn right there, and then go from there. And then that way start fresh on Monday. You can be who you're going to be now in this fresh new look, fresh new attitude, whatever.
Exactly.
So, man, we'll see where I was good with either of those two matches being X off the card.
Same. Then Stone Cold decided to pile up the rig. Stone Cold drives his four-wheeler, and a lady just flops down. And someone said, damn, that lady's about to be the next green shirt guy. She going to be front row at every show for the next 30 years. I'm like,
how fast Nick Khan was over there?
Nick Khan's over there, like, checking on her. I'm like, you fucking scumbags, dude. Like,
she flopped like LeBron, dude.
Oh, shit. I don't know what actually happened, which is crazier, too. Like, I don't know if she tripped because the chairs got, like, no one knows, right? That we weren't, but, like, just the shit that came out of that was worth him wrecking. I was like, this is hilarious. This is great. It's so good.
Something that I saw that I completely agree with, and just kind of goes to show, what WWE or TKO, whoever's doing it, what they're doing as a whole. any other wrestling fan, and if that girl was a wrestling fan, she would have up there, taking selfies or snapping pictures or videos. Whereas, she is looking to, probably sue or whatever.
Hell yeah. I'm thinking about suing too.
Yeah, I mean the wrestling, the wrestling fans aren't the ones, sitting front row anymore. It's just like who competed the most to get there.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't know where that goes to, but I did think that was like the highlight of the night was Stone Cold wrecking the 4-wheeler. And then we got Cody versus Cena. Cena came down with the new entrance. I thought that was cool. I liked the black. Obviously, I didn't know what he was going to do, but I didn't hate that. Cody's entrance was. I liked the mask, but like other than that, it wasn't the bikes. Like well, everyone knows I'm a Cody guy. What are we doing with the dirt bikes? Like that was so stupid. And then the song didn't. You didn't even play into the song. Like I was like, this is not good. This is like lackluster at best. Obviously, I'm a Cody guy, so I'm not even biased. I thought it was the shits, really. The mask was cool, though, because it automatically opened. That was kind of like very Iron Man-esque. I thought that was neat.
So, I think that as far as like the motorcycles, of course, them being in Vegas, the Evel Knievel thing, I feel like the only way that it makes sense is if Cody comes down with an Evel Knievel style like coat on.
Yeah, like why didn't he have that on or something?
For it to be, because obviously that was a huge thing for Vegas back in the day. That would be the only thing.
That makes more sense now. Okay.
But of course that didn't happen. So
yeah, it was kind of weak. And then the match happened. I'll tell you this. Cody's put on like 2 bad matches his entire career. Unfortunately, one was in the Tokyo Dome and one was in Allegiant Stadium. Look, again, it's WrestleMania. I enjoyed the match. I'm a Cody guy. I didn't care that he lost because I knew he was going to lose. I knew that Cena was winning the 17th. The way he won the 17th, though, was maybe the lamest finish since Hogan coming out and just randomly getting a match at WrestleMania 9. That finish made 0 sense to me. It did not 0 sense. It didn't feel like the match felt good. Travis Scott lollygagging down the ramp. Then he takes the crossroads. Then Cena hits him with the belt. Like it felt clunky. But I'm not ashamed to say I enjoyed WrestleMania, the main event. It's still Cody versus Cena. Like we witnessed Cena win his 17th. So for me, I was like, yeah, it wasn't a 5-star. It wasn't Okada Omega. It wasn't Cody Guevara. It wasn't Race Flair. It was what it was. So for me, I'm not nitpicky about that. I'm like, it happened. Let's see where the story goes from here. Because it's obviously not over. So that's kind of my thought, man. Like I know people are probably like, if they do listen to the show weekly, they're probably like, oh, he's gonna hate this. But I was like, it was what it was, man. I just wish they did better entrances. What about you?
I agree with a lot of what you said, man. I do think that the ending was definitely not the way that it should have been. To touch on a little bit on the entrances, I just mentioned we were thinking, we were gonna get some big extravagant entrance for Cena or Cody or both. And I get why, of course, Cena didn't have much there, black screen, white letters, very plain. I get that.
Yep.
But it's Cody, he's the top baby face in the company. He is the face of the company. It's like, and all he gets is a mask and, a few dirt bikes riding around. So I do feel like the whole weekend, as far as entrances, was probably one of the worst WrestleMania.
1,000%. Yeah.
But as far as the match, leading up to the finish, it wasn't that good. It was. I wasn't expecting, a super, super typical match or anything. Yeah. But I do feel like Cena definitely pulled out some different moves compared to what he usually does, and I think that was kind of to troll a little bit, like. I can't wrestle, but here, let me do, more of a wrestling move than, what you guys are used to seeing me do, which we saw a lot of. But as far as Travis Scott, man, I just don't think it makes sense. Just like, if Travis Scott comes out with The Rock, okay, I guess I'm okay with him being there. It makes a little bit more sense. It's the click that they're in, whatever. But Travis Scott showing up solo, I'm just like, man, let Cena pull a heel move, let him win the title, like a heel would, cheating, pulling something cheap. And with some celebrity outside interference that is going to make a mark on wrestling history forever. Because who knows when that 17 will be beat, if ever. And Travis Scott,
Orton would be the closest one.
Yeah, and I mean, Travis Scott was unfortunately a huge part in that. So
yeah. Let's. I'm going to switch these around. We're actually going to go Rocky sucks next. And the reason being is that Rock doesn't show up to Mania. I've said for the last year, we do not need The Rock. I said this before. I'll say it now. His time has passed. Everyone's, he's the most electrifying man in He can't cut a promo like he used to. He can't wrestle like he used to. Why do I need him there? Why did he insert himself in something just to not be there? And I told everybody. I said, cool, man, this was awesome. The heels seen a turn, but like, it's still The Rock. And then sure enough, my guy does not show up, and the internet was ablaze. Everyone was upset, man. LaGreca had a full-on meltdown on Busted Open. If you haven't seen the clip, check it out. Yeah, man. Fuck The Rock, dude. I've been said that. I'll tell you the tweet. Look, I sent a picture of something I said in October to the group chat earlier today, and it said, what did I see here? Hold on. I tagged me and Mario were in there, and it was from earlier this year. I actually took a screenshot of it. Maybe I did. Where did it go? Here we go. Nope, that's from 18. Damn. All right. I don't know where it went, but it was basically I was like, yo, The Rock sucks. Ben said that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that type of thing. Like, I've been saying The Rock is the shits for the last year, and now y'all are just now catching on. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing the amount. And then he proceeds to throw Triple H under the bus through all the tweets and the comments, and then he goes on Pat McAfee's show and all this shit, and it's like, what are we fucking doing? Why? And so, I don't know, man. My opinion stays the same. We don't fucking need The Rock. I don't know why everybody thought we did. And that's kind of how I feel about it. What say you, man, with everything that happened in the last few days with The Rock?
I feel the same, dude. I mean, I feel like I've never been a big fan, even when it was Roman with the title. I've never been a big fan of, quote unquote, the part-timers being involved in the big storylines, going on the whole show.
Yeah.
And of course, he threw out the bullshit of Elimination. Ari called him up, said Elimination Chamber tickets weren't selling. I'm like, okay, maybe if you lower the damn prices to a reasonable amount and you weren't gouging people, then you have it packed out every single night, no questions asked. And then you wouldn't have to, quote, pay The Rock or whoever to show up.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna be in it, be in it. Even if you show up, every other week or, maybe once here and there, but like to not come back and I feel like fulfill your role in probably one of the biggest storylines of all time. Like, what are we doing? You said that you're going to.
Yeah, if you're the catalyst of this turn, why do you not show up?
He said that his plan was, all along to sit back and let them play it out how they want.
It's an egomaniac. I said this. Someone said, I said to G, one of our friends in the chat, and was like, man, you really enjoy the part-time champs. And he's like, look at every other champ. They don't play, they don't every day or this, that, and the other. And I'm like, my brother, I made the joke, and I was like, you're right. Some of my favorite Seinfeld episodes are the one that Jerry's not in. Said no one ever. Dude, it's pro wrestling. It's an episodic show. This isn't baseball. This isn't basketball. This isn't football, and it damn sure ain't UFC or boxing. That you can't show up once a fucking quarter. It doesn't work. Roman Reigns is not that good. Everybody thinks he is. It's not. It is what y'all are thinking. You are confused as wrestling fans. I'm sorry. Maybe I grew up differently. Maybe I enjoy seeing my favorite wrestler every week.
Well, showing up, I think personally, showing up to get the pop, maybe once every 3 or 4 months is okay. By all means, get the feeling that you're chasing whatever.
But don't interject yourself in the main event.
Exactly.
That's my point. You can't be the star of the show, but show up only once every quarter.
Yep.
You can't do that.
That kind of just goes to show, and I've been seeing a lot online, how people are saying The Rock's just a mark for himself and all this shit. And I was like, that's true.
I mean, in the end, we kind of all are, right? To a certain, if we were The Rock, we'd probably say the same shit. I'm not. It is what it is, whatever. But like, as I've said forever, The Rock is not needed. Now y'all know. So yeah, The Rock sucks. All right, the Raw after Mania. We're gonna wrap it up here. The Wrestling Week in Vegas, women's tag match. Obviously, it was a great match. I did enjoy the match. I thought Raw overall, and I texted you this, was like maybe the best Raw. We've been saying that a lot too. Like, damn, that's maybe the best Raw I've seen in a long time. That was maybe the best Raw after Mania I've seen in at least the last 5 years. Definitely the best Raw after Mania.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. There was a little bit of everything that you expect out of the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
You had some new debuts. You had people come back.
Man, let's talk about that just briefly. Rusev returning. Everyone's always like, hey, we don't need him. He goes to AEW, whatever. He's the shits. And then the WWE drones are like, Rusev's back. And it's like, get the fuck out of here, brother. Unless he's bringing out Lana, I do not care. Okay? Let me just be real clear about that. I'm out on the Rusev return. I did like the debuts of some of the other folks, like Julia and Stephanie Vacure and Roxanne all came out. I enjoyed that segment of the women's stuff because that was really, really good. But yeah, man, Rusev.
Yeah,
sorry,
dude.
I'll let you finish. I apologize.
Train, dude. I thought, he did have potential in AEW.
Should have came out with a tank.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how WWE uses them this time around. We've definitely seen where sometimes that's what people need. They leave and come back, and they find themselves a little bit, which I don't think Rusev did because he wasn't on TV for maybe 6 months at a time.
Yeah, dude, it's not. Mira was a shit gimmick, so was Game Over. Whatever. I mean, I'm not knocking him. I don't know him, but whatever.
Yeah, so we'll see that, man. I feel like that's still got a lot of time to, either progress or get, real bad.
Yeah. I said the only thing that sucked about Raw was Becky turning. Like, I don't care about the Becky thing. I didn't understand it. And then when she turned, she hit Lyra, but Lyra wasn't selling it. I thought that was super weird too. I was like, what is happening in this? This is the weirdest turn I've ever seen. I didn't enjoy that either. But Braun Breaker joining Seth and Paul, that segment at the end was a top-notch Attitude Era stuff. If everyone thinks about that, like Attitude Era was the best, this is as peak Attitude Era as you're getting is that moment right there. Because that was very like, let's bring someone out of nowhere and everybody hits their finishers, right? And I really enjoyed that. So I thought overall, then you had JD McDonough come back. Like, I just thought from a Raw perspective, I was like, damn, this thing is banging right now. I was like, dude, banging.
Too. And to kind of touch on that Attitude Era thing, it almost kind of feels like at this point, it seems like Heyman almost kind of feels like Mr. McMahon, and then he's just kind of building his corporation around him and, just bringing members in. I'm kind of interested to see, if and when, somebody else would join him.
I saw some pretty terrible suggestions online this week. Austin Theory. I think, why? What is wrong? What wrestling are y'all watching?
See, and I'm really hoping that they don't pair someone up with them to potentially kill that.
See, I think they do need to pair Braun with someone because you can't have two singles guys. You're going to have someone. There's going to have to be a tag team in there at some point because you can't just have a bunch of singles wrestlers, right? That doesn't ever really work. But yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see who else they put with him. Maybe Becky goes with him, and maybe they add another guy for a tag team with Braun. That would be cool. One thing that WWE doesn't really do is like the factions holding all the titles. They did it kind of with the Judgment Day, right? I think everybody had a title, right? Liv, Damian, and Finn, and them. Were they all champions at the same time earlier? I can't remember. That might be as close as you got, but I really truly think to be a faction at the top, you have to have multiple titles. So like they should win everything. Seth should beat Jay. You know, Braun and somebody should be tag champs. Like you have some directions to go, in my opinion, with that. But I'm really excited about where it goes too. I think, like I said, just one of the top tier Raws that I've seen in a long time.
Same, dude. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they can continue the momentum. Of course, the Mania or the Raw after Mania is always a big one. So you know, hopefully they keep the train rolling and don't lose any steam.
Yeah. Some of the WWE stuff outside of Mania. I don't know if you saw the roast of Mania stuff online. Obviously, I
listened to it.
Did you listen to it today?
Yeah, I found something on Twitter that
I saw the audio. The full audio was out there.
Pretty much the whole thing, and I was listening to it while I was working, and it was cool to kind of hear the WWE talent go back and forth. But Tony Hinchcliffe's buddies, they really didn't.
Dude, Tony Hinchcliffe's not funny. People who like Kill Tony, I'm like, I don't know if I like you anymore.
Yeah, no, and I mean, not to say that, you know, somebody out there wouldn't think it's funny, but I was listening to it.
I'm
I was
sure
like,
there are
man,
people that do think it's funny. But
I was like, this shit is not. It might not be for me. But I was like,
it might not be for me. That's right.
This is not funny at all. And I mean, of course, some of the WWE guys, you know, they had Braun Strowman there, Sami Zayn, Miz, Nia Jax actually went out there and killed it.
She was having a full on come apart though, right, about Cody and Charlotte and stuff. I
haven't
heard the whole clip. I've only heard the clips of it.
So I mean, as a brand friendly organization like WWE, there's definitely reasons why they didn't.
Oh, it'll never. You'll never see the video of it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was something that definitely is probably not going to continue to happen for sure.
Yeah, I heard some stuff that I just thought was like, this is kind of petty and kind of dumb. And I get the roast thing, but I also think roasts are mostly dumb too because they're not really ever that funny. Which I don't care about. I'm not soft or the digs, whatever. Say whatever you say. Like some of it's just not funny. It's just not amusing. So
well, and for me, a lot of what this roast was, and I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of them previous, but it's just all the low hanging fruit, man. It's like all the easy stuff. You know, they try to take that and spin that to make it as funny as they can, and it's like, man, we've heard all this shit 100 times. Yeah,
that's where I was like, okay. I'm trying to think of what else WWE did. That was NXT. Obviously, was cool.
The Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame. So I didn't watch the Hall of Fame, but I do know that Triple H talked for an hour plus.
It was long, dude.
That is crazy, dude. You want to talk about a mark for themselves? You can't sit here and say the Triple H. I'm not saying he's not great for the business, but you can't sit here and say he's not a mark for himself, right? It felt kind of like that. It's an interesting dynamic there. But I was glad to see the Hall of Fame. It was really crazy to hear, I will say, we'll leave on this note, Lex Luger decided to do WrestleCon instead of going, because, you know, he didn't come out on stage for WrestleMania. Supposedly he got paid more to do WrestleCon, so he chose that instead of WrestleMania.
How sad is that?
Dude, how sad is that? Someone said in true Lex Luger form, Lex Luger's always going to do Lex Luger.
That's so sad that, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, WrestleCon or who's ever putting that on is making great money and is paying these guys great. But we're talking about a multi-billion dollar company.
Yeah.
It's not paying as much as WrestleCon. Like, come on, man.
I agree, dude. It's what I'm saying. It's a wild time to be a WWE fan right now. And I don't know. They're talking about, you know, just I can't see the prices going any higher than they already are. So, like, I told you they have SmackDown here the same week that we talked about going to All In, and SmackDown tickets are outrageous. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay that to sit there 3 hours and watch dog shit television. I'm just not going to do
Did
it.
you see that video with Randy where he was taking like pictures with a fan?
Oh,
where
and
they
he told him, yeah, he's like, damn, y'all paid how much? And he was like, that's that's an obscene amount of money. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he said, man, that's embarrassing for him to work for a company that is charging that much to put your ass in their seat for
dude.
a couple hours. And by, they don't even put on as much wrestling and as much show as what they're doing for ads and entrances and all that shit.
Yeah, they are. There's a reason the gate is as good as it is for WWE right now.
And dude, that I will say, man, I'm so sick and tired of hearing, we broke
gate.
this.
Yeah, no shit.
We broke this record. No shit, dude. You're charging, 20 grand a ticket for the floor and, 500, 600 for bleeds.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man, right now. But I will say this. It's good to be a wrestling fan. I see a lot of people getting back into it. I'm excited for the summer as we continue to heat up, obviously. Next week, we'll go back into regular Around the Mat format. We'll have all types of stuff. We'll bring the scoreboard back out, and we'll talk all about it. Tyler, man, thanks for joining us. WrestleMania, another WrestleMania has come and gone. And we're on the road to Money in the Bank and Double or Nothing, and a lot of stuff going to happen. So we're going to talk all about it. Thank you guys all for joining us here at the podcast. Until next time, when we go Around the Mat.